he has not much attachment to the material objects. And he's at the same time not too detached also. That means he is not adopting the method of false renunciation, falgu vairagya. So both things are not attached also. At the same time, he is not detached also. He has faith in the association of devotees and he has faith in serving Krishna. That's very important. Okay, enough read. Anisha Prabhu, you read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. On account of his association with Mahatmas or great souls, 100% in the devotional service of the Lord, one may attain a little bit of attraction for Shri Krishna. But at the same time, one may remain very much attached to fruitive activities and material sense enjoyment and not be prepared to undergo the different types of renunciation. Such a person, if he has unflinching attraction to Krishna, becomes an eligible candidate for discharging devotional service. Should I continue?
Okay. Now 1.2.15. यथा एकादशे यद्विच्छया मत्कथादौ जातश्रद्धौस्तु यः पुमान् न निर्विन्नो नातिसक्तो भक्तियोगोस्य उद्धितः सिद्धितः. So it is said, if by fortune one develops faith in hearing and chanting Krishna's glories, such a person is neither very disgusted nor attached to material life. They should achieve perfection to the path of loving devotion and service to me. So by hearing and chanting, what happens is he develops love for Krishna. He doesn't have any hatred towards any material things, nor has any attachment. That means what? He is not a falgu vairagya. At the same time, he is not at the level of a jnani. Jnanis are those who renounce things. Karmis are those who has attachment towards things. So he is neither driven by karma or jnana. He is a bhakta. That means he knows how to utilize things in Krishna's service. And that happens with the association of devotees. He knows to utilize each and everything in Krishna's service. For that, he should not have attachment also. He should not have detachment also. He should not be disgusted also. When you say detachment refers to false renunciation. He should be detached, no doubt, but he should be attached to attaching things in Krishna's service. That is more important. He should have that eagerness how to attach the things in Krishna's service. Okay, that is awakening of faith. That is why hearing and chanting, that is a simple formula to have a faith in devotional service. Okay, read Prabhu. Aneja Prabhu, continue.
This attraction for Krishna consciousness in association with pure devotees is the sign of great fortune. It is confirmed by Lord Chaitanya that only the fortunate persons, by the mercy of both a bona fide spiritual master and Krishna, will get the seed of devotional service. In this connection, Lord Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 20th chapter, verse 8, "My dear Uddhava, only by the exceptional fortune does someone become attracted to me. And even if one is not completely detached from fruitive activities or is not completely attached to devotional service, such service is quickly effective."
Just because
Continue.
he's a fortune to get attracted to Krishna. He has a fortune for hearing. He has a fortune for chanting. That itself is enough. Enough for him, though he may not be fully detached with the material things. He may not be very strong in devotional service, but this formula is very, very effective. Automatically, he will come in the platform of loving Krishna very nicely. Okay, now 16th. Uttamo madhyamasya uttamo madhyamascha kaniष्ठाश्चेति त्रिधा. So there are three types of adhikaris. Uttama, Madhyama, Kanishta. We studied this in Nectar of Instruction. Who are the three levels of devotees? We studied. Now see here in Nectar of Instructions what is taught. Nectar of Devotion. Okay, read this. Anupama Mataji, you read 16. Anupama.
Yeah, you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The attraction of Krishna consciousness.
Third one.
Yeah. Devotee may be divided into three classes. The devotee in the first or uppermost class is described as follows. He is very expert in the study of relevant scriptures, and he is also expert in putting forward arguments in terms of those scriptures. He can very nicely present conclusions with perfect discretion and can consider the ways of devotional service in the decisive way. He understands perfectly that the ultimate goal of life is to attain to the transcendental loving service of Krishna, and he knows that Krishna is the only object of worship and love. This first class devotee is one who has strictly followed the rule and regulation under the training of a bona fide spiritual master and has sincerely obeyed him in accord with scriptures. Thus, being fully trained to preach and become a spiritual master himself, he is considered first class. The first class devotee never deviates from the principles of higher authority, and he retains firm faith in the scriptures by understanding with all reason and arguments. When we speak of arguments and reason, it means arguments and reason on the basis of revealed scriptures. The first class devotee is not interested in dry speculative methods meant for wasting time. In other words, one who has attained a mature determination in the matter of devotional service can be accepted as the first class devotee.
Okay, this includes 17th verse also. Tatra uttamaha Shastri yuktau na cha nipunaho sarvata drida nishchayah praudashadhodhikariyah sabhakta uttamamataha. So here Uttama Bhakta is also glorified in this verse. Who is a Uttama Bhakta? In Vaidhi Bhakti, in Sadhana Bhakti, there are three levels. That is Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Uttama is one who is very skillful in scriptures and logics. And he not only has firm belief in his path, and that much deep faith is there. In fact, he can even give that faith to others. He can teach others. He can imbibe that faith in others. That is a Uttama Bhakta in Vaidhi Bhakti. In Vaidhi Bhakti, there is Sadhana Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti is what? Where scriptures are followed. That is Sadhana Bhakti or Vaidhi Bhakti, where the rules and regulations given in the scriptures are followed. When a person crosses these rules and regulations, becomes beyond, that is at the level of bhava and prema. And further, Krishna's mercy is very much important. But Vaidhi Bhakti means following the rules and regulations which is there in the scriptures. Now, Uttama Bhakti in the Vaidhi Bhakti is one who has firm faith in the scriptures. And his faith is so deep that has been given. Shraddha. Shraddha means so much of conviction. Yes, what is there in the scriptures, and he can even have logical arguments also, and he can win others because his hold in the scripture is very strong. Okay, now 18th one. Who is a Madhyama? Tatra Madhyamaha Yaha Shastradau Nipunaha Shraddhavan Satu Madhyama. Now Madhyama is one who has faith in the scriptures, but he is not so Nipunaha. He is not very strong. If any argument is placed before him, he has conviction, but he cannot place an argument because he is not so strong in the scriptures, but he has that much faith in the scriptures. There's a lot of difference. Uttama has hold in the scriptures. Madhyama has faith in the scriptures, but not much hold in the scriptures. Okay, read the 18th one, Anupama. Second class devotee.
The second class devotee has been defined by the following symptoms. He is not only expert in arguing on the strength of revealed scriptures, but he has firm faith in the objective. The support of this description is the second class devotee has firm faith in procedure of devotional service unto Krishna, but he may sometimes fail to offer arguments and decisions on the strength of revealed scriptures to an opposing party. But at the same time, he is still undaunted within himself as to his decision that Krishna is the supreme object of worship.
Yes. He has that conviction. He cannot put forward. Sometimes he fails in arguing. Okay, 19th one. 19th one. Tatra kanishtaha yo bhavet komalashaddaha sa kanishtaha nigadyate. So definition of kanishta is he has a weak faith. But he's adhikari, na? How he can be weak to faith? Adhikari means he has a right to perform devotion. That means he has faith, but that faith is weak because somebody who is knowledgeable, they can change they can give him some temporary unsteadiness. Understand nicely. He will not be deviated. His weak faith is that somebody is knowledgeable. They can give him something, they can distract him. But again, if he is brought back to the spiritual master, he is brought back to the knowledge, he will again have the conviction. So he has a less faith. Why? Because he has less knowledge of the scriptures. That is why he is Kanishta. But he can be grown. He can be deviated also. He can be grown also. But he is an adhikari. Even though he is a Kanishta, he has a right to perform devotional service. He is also a devotee. He may be a neophyte, but still he is a devotee. That is why Komala Shraddha. Lot of attention has to be given. Care, attention has to be given. Okay, 19th one. That also read it out. Read there. Sagar, you read.
The neophyte or third-class devotee is one whose faith is not strong and who at the same time does not recognize the decision of the revealed scripture. The neophyte's faith can be changed by someone with strong arguments or by an opposite decision. Unlike the second-class devotee, who cannot put forward arguments and evidences from the scripture, but who still has all faith in the objective, the neophyte has no firm faith in the objective. Thus, he is called the neophyte devotee.
Okay. Now there are 4 classes of devotees. Chaturvida bhajante mam. Janaha Sukritro Arjuna, Artho Jigyasu Artharthi, Yani cha Paratarshava. These are the 4 types of devotees. Artho, who is in distress. Artho Jigyasu, one who is in knowledge. Artharthi, one who is desiring for some wealth. Jnani. Jigyasu is one who is inquisitive. Jnani, one who is in knowledge. Among the 4, Krishna says, Tesham Jnani Nityuktaha Eka Bhakti Vishishyate. Priyo hi Jnani Notyartam Aham Sacham me Priyaha. That Jnani is very, very dear to me among the 4. All the 4 are Udaras. Udaraha Sarva Evaite. Jnani Tva Atmaiva Me Matam. All are Udara. Udara means a broad-hearted people. That is why they have come to Krishna. Even if they want money, they have come to Krishna. Even if they want to remove the distress, they have come to Krishna. They have not gone to anybody else. So Udara, broad-hearted, they have come. But among that four, Krishna says, Jnani is very dear to me. So that has been mentioned in this 20th verse and 21st verse, which goes to the next page also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 paragraphs speaks about 20 and 21. Tatra Gita Sukatanam Chaturnam Adhikarinam मध्ये यस्मिन् भगवतः कृपा स्यात् तत् प्रियस्य वा स क्षीण तत् यत् तत् भुवः स्यात् छूरा भक्ति अधिकारवान् यथेबः शौनकादिश्च ध्रुवस्य च चतुष्सनः. So among the 4 types of people qualified for bhakti mentioned in Gita, when they receive the mercy of the Lord or his devotee and eradicate these tendencies, like we know Artho, we have Gajendra, Artharthi, we have Dhruv Maharaj, Jigyasu, we have Shaunakadi Rishi, then we have Jnani, 4 Kumaras. So when how they become qualified for pure devotional service? If they have mercy of Krishna or mercy of the devotees, then they will come out of all this contamination. These 4 are actually contamination. Artho, Jigyasu, Artharthi, Jnani. All 4 are the contamination because they are not on the pure devotional service. That is mixed. They are mixed. There is a mixture is there. It's not pure devotional service. That is why a Jnani can become a pure devotee by the mercy of Krishna or devotees. Jigyasu also can come. Artho, Artharthi also will be disinterested in the things which they wanted. Like Dhruv Maharaj went for doing tapasya. After doing 4 months tapasya, when Lord appears, he himself is disgusted with the things what he has asked. He says, for what purpose I came? I just came for getting some kingdom which is bigger than my great grandfather. It is like asking some piece of glass when Lord himself is so wonderful. I could have asked Lord himself. I could have asked pure devotional service. But what did I ask? Why did I call Lord? Just to ask something which is like a piece of glass. So that has been mentioned here. In the same way, 4 Kumaras, when they went to Vaikuntha Loka, at the time when they just took the fragrance, when Lord comes to see them, they just had the fragrance of the tulsi mala which is there, just the fragrance of the tulsi. Then immediately they took up to pure devotion service. They got attracted to pure devotion service. And Shaunakadi Rishi, they were sitting in Naimisharanya and they were inquiring unto the pure devotional service. They were all inquisitive to know what is the path by which everybody will experience satisfaction. Enatma suprasidati. So they wanted which path is going to give that ultimate satisfaction. What is the thing which is going to please everyone? So these type of inquisitiveness and the answer, they're expecting that answer. That is why they got the association of Sutta Goswami. Only by the association of a pure devotee and by mercy of Krishna, such type of 4 type of people, their contamination is completely gone. Okay. Vyasagar Prabhu, you read the first paragraph in this, and then Krishna Priya Mataji will read 2nd and 3rd.
Hare Krishna. Further classification of the neophyte devotee is made in the Bhagavad Gita. It is stated that 4 classes of men, namely those who are distressed, those who are in need of money, those who are inquisitive, and those who are wise, begin devotional service and come to the Lord for relief in the matter of their respective self-satisfaction. They go into some place of worship and pray to God for mitigation of material distress or for some economic development or to satisfy their inquisitiveness. And wise man who simply realizes the greatness of God is also counted among the Nephites. Such beginners can be elevated to the second class or first class platform if they associate with pure devotees.
Yes, they can come to the class of Madhyama, Uttama, if they are guided by pure devotees. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. An example of the neophyte class is Maharaja Dhruva. He was in need of his father's kingdom and therefore engaged himself in devotional service to the Lord. Then, in the end, when he was completely purified, he declined to accept any material benediction from the Lord. Similarly, Gajendra was distressed and prayed to Krishna for protection, after which he became a pure devotee. Similarly, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumara were all in the category of wise, saintly persons, and they were also attracted by devotional service. A similar thing happened to the assembly in the Naimisaranya forest, headed by the sage Saunaka. Thus, the sages were inquisitive and were always asking Suta Goswami about Krishna. Thus, they achieved the association of pure devotee and become pure devotees themselves. So that this is the way of elevating oneself in whatever condition one may be. If he is fortunate enough to associate with pure devotees, then very quickly he is elevated to the second class or first class platform.
Okay.
These four,
Bus. How many you read? Okay,
one
part.
only, Mataji. Yeah.
Read.
Yeah. These four types of devotees have been described in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and they have all been accepted as pious. Without becoming pious, no one can come to devotional service. It is explained in Bhagavad Gita that only one who has counterly executed pious activities and whose sinful reactions in life have completely stopped can take to Krishna consciousness. Others cannot. The neophyte devotees are classified into four groups: the distressed, those who need of money, the inquisitive, and the wise, according to the gradation of their pious activities. Without pious activities, if a man is in a distressed condition, he becomes an agnostic, a communist, or something like that, because he does not firmly believe in God. He thinks that he can adjust his distressed condition by totally disbelieving in him.
Okay. So if a person has no faith in God, what he thinks, he can adjust his distressed condition by totally not believing in him. Okay. From here, Vaishnav Gaur Prabhu, read. Vaishnav Gaur Prabhu.
Yes, I'm reading.
Lord Krishna.
Lord Krishna, however, has explained in the Gita that out of these four types of neophytes, the one who is wise is very dear to him, because a wise man, if he is attracted to Krishna, is not seeking an exchange of material benefits. A wise man who becomes attached to Krishna does not want any return from him, either in the form of his relieving his distress or in gaining money. This means that from the very beginning, his basic principle of attachment to Krishna is more or less love. Furthermore, due to his wisdom and study of Shastras, scriptures, he can also understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Continue. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that after many births, when one becomes actually wise, he surrenders unto Vasudeva. knowing perfectly well that Krishna, Vasudeva, is the origin and cause of all causes. Therefore, he sticks to the lotus feet of Krishna and gradually develops love for him. Although such a wise man is very dear to Krishna, the others are also accepted as very magnanimous.
Udara.
Because, yeah, bada. Because even though they are distressed or in need of money, they have come to Krishna for satisfaction. Thus, they are accepted as liberal, broad-minded.
Broad-minded person, yes. Broad-minded. Because Udara Sarveveti. They're all magnanimous. Magnanimous heart.
Yes.
Okay, Jumo, read from here. Jumo. Jumo. Or Maya Mataji, you read. Mayapur Bihari. You are busy. Kanchan
I
Mataji.
read it, Mataji.
Kanchan, you read after that. You read.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna
Kanchan.
Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Without being elevated to the position of jnani or wise man, one cannot stick to the principle of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The less intelligent are those whose intelligence has been taken away by the spell of Maya, are attached to different demigods on account of the influence of the modes of nature. The wise man is he who has thoroughly understood that he is spirit soul and not simply a body, because he realizes that he is a spirit and Krishna is the supreme spirit. He knows that his intimate relationship should be with Krishna, not with his body. The distressed and the man in want of money are in the material concept of life, because distress and need of money are both in relationship with this body. One who is inquisitive may be a little above the distressed and the man in need of money, but still he is on the material platform. But a wise man who seeks Krishna knows perfectly well that he is spirit soul or Brahman and that Krishna is the supreme spirit soul or Param Brahman. He knows that the spirit soul, being subordinate and finite, should always do- dovetail himself with the infinite and supreme
Dovetail.
soul.
Dovetail.
Dovetail. Sorry, Mataji. Krishna. That is the relationship of the wise man with Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So what he'll do,
Mataji,
he will connect himself to the Supreme Lord. Yes. Continue that one paragraph, then there ends 21, 20 and 21. Yes, small paragraph.
Yes.
Continue.
Yes, Mataji. It can be concluded that a person who is freed from the bodily concept of life is an eligible candidate for pure devotional service. It is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that after Brahman realization, when one is freed from material and anxieties and can see every living entity on an equal level, he is eligible to enter into devotional service.
Yes, he's seeing everybody on equal level. That is, we have studied in 5th chapter. He is same Pashyati. He has an equal vision. Whether it is Brahmana, whether it is Gavi, Shuni, Chopakecha, Brahmana, Gavi Hastini. So they are the Samadarshinaha. They have equal vision. So 22nd verse, a very important verse that also has to be memorized. There is a nice story behind this verse. Bhukti mukti sprahayavat pishachi hridivartate tavad bhakti sukhasyatra katham abhyudayo bhavet. I'll put this verse, try to memorize this verse. Because when Rupa Goswami wrote this verse, and after writing this book, Vallabhacharya came to the kutir of Rupa Goswami. When he saw, he went through all the verses, but when this verse came, Bhukti Mukti Spruha Yavat, Pishachi Hridivartate. That means Bhukti is Pisachi, wonderful. How is it that Mukti is also Pisachi? So he just took a pen and marked. That is something it marked. that I accept Bhukti is Pisachi. How can you say Mukti is also Pisachi? I don't accept this. You should correct this. Rupa Goswami said, okay, I'll correct it. Then few days he stayed there, and when he was returning, Jiva Goswami accompanied him. And all the way he told, that means you go till some point to drop your guest. Then he told, somehow I'm not convinced by you telling that Mukti is not Pisachi. Whatever my uncle has written, Mukti is Pisachi, Mukti is Pisachi, that is perfectly all right. And then he went on giving quotations from verses, from scriptures, mentioning that even Mukti, desire for Mukti, is also a ghost, it is also a Pisachi. And Vallabhacharya accepted it. And this person was very happy. Jiva Goswami, he comes and tells to Rupa Goswami, I defeated Vallabhacharya. Then that is not the mood of Vrindavan. Defeating, and on top of that, feeling happy in others' defeat. This is not a mood of Vrindavan. Better go out from Vrindavan. So that is how Jiva Goswami was told to go out of Vrindavan. And second time also it happened the same thing. But somehow Sanatana Goswami used to bring back Jiva Goswami. So this verse is very important. Bhukti mukti spruha yavat pishachi hirdi vartate tavad bhakti sukhasyatra. Bhakti is actually sukhasyatra. It's beyond bhukti, beyond mukti, beyond jnana, beyond karmi, beyond karma, beyond jnana. Katham abhyudayo bhavet. Because if you say bhukti, that is karmi, attachment. Mukti, having false renunciation. So that is jnanis. So one has to come out of both this. And then anya abhilashita shunyam. Just one desire. That is the desire to serve Krishna, not more than that. Okay. Vandana Mataji, read. 2 paragraphs goes for 1.2.22.
Hare Krishna Mataji. As stated before, there are 3 kinds of happiness: material, spiritual, and devotional. Devotional service and the happiness due to its execution are not possible as long as one is materially affected. If someone has a desire for material enjoyment or for becoming one with the Supreme, these are 2 considered material concepts. Because the impersonalist cannot appreciate the spiritual happiness of association and the exchange of loving affairs with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, their ultimate goal is to become one with the Lord. This concept is simply an extension of the material idea. In the material world, everyone is trying to be the topmost head man among all his few fellow men or neighbors, either communally, socially, or nationally. Everyone is competing to become greater than the others. In the material concept of life, this greatness can be extended to the unlimited, so that one can actually want to become one with the greatest of all, the Supreme Lord. This is also a material concept, although maybe a little more advanced. However, the perfect spiritual concept of life is complete knowledge of one's constitutional position, in which one knows enough to dovetail himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. One must know that he is finite and the Lord is infinite. Thus, it is not possible to actually become one with the Lord, even if one aspires for this. This is simply not possible. Therefore, anyone who has any desire or aspiration for satisfying his senses by becoming one, and more important, either in the material sense or in the spiritual sense, cannot actually relish the really sweet taste of devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami has therefore compared possessing this bhukti, material, and mukti, liberation, desires with being influenced by the black art of a witch. In both cases, one is in trouble. Bhukti means material enjoyment, and mukti means to become freed from the material anxiety and to become one with the Lord. These desires are compared to be being haunted by ghosts and witches, because while these aspirations for material enjoyment or spiritual ones with the Supreme remain, no one can relish the actual transcendental taste of devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Okay, and read that also, small one.
A
Small
pure
paragraph.
devotee never cares for liberation. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prayed to Krishna, "My dear son of Nanda, I do not want any material happiness in the shape of many followers, nor immense opulence in wealth, nor any beautiful wife, nor do I want celestial from material existence. I may take many births one after another, but what I pray for you is that my devotion unto you may always remain unflinchingly." Hare,
Unflinching.
unflinching.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
तत्रापि स विशेषेण गतिमन्विम् अनिच्छतः 23rd verse. भक्तिहृत मनः प्राणान् प्रेम्नातान् kurte janan. By prema, the bhakti process, that is hearing, takes possession of the mind and senses of persons who do not desire the goal of liberation at all. Now, bhakti is devoid of the desire of liberation that has been given. Bhakti has this process, hearing, chanting. Now, bhakti possesses the devotee's mind. The possession is the devotee's mind and the senses. And because of that, they are not attracted to any type of liberation. Okay. Gadadhar Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you. The attention of a pure devotee is so much attracted to glorification of Lord's pastimes, named that devotee does not care for mukti. Sri Bilomang Thakura has said, "If I am engaged in devotional service unto you, my dear Lord, then very easily can I perceive your presence everywhere. And as far as liberation is concerned, I think liberation stands at my door with folded hands, waiting to serve me. To pure devotees, therefore, liberation and spiritual emancipation are not very important things."
Okay.
Can I continue, Mataji?
Now, now the evidence is given from the third canto of Bhagavatam. Tathas chatitriye te darshaniyaya vayerudarah vilas. Mute your phone, Prabhu. Vilas asekshita vama suktehi kritatmanorta pramanas bhaktir anichato me gatim manvim prayukta. What happens? Bhakti steals. That's why bhakti to Hari. Hari means harate, one who can steal others' mind. So bhakti steals the mind and senses of the persons who do not desire any liberation. By the prema, why so much? Why there is no desire? Because the prema has arose because of realizing the attractive limbs, pastimes, charming words, glances, playful smiles of the generous Lord. Now his mind is stolen. Why it is stolen? Because it is attracted to Krishna's wonderful pastimes, wonderful beauty that has been given. Okay. Janazar Prabhu, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Read.
Myself?
Yeah, Gadi Prabhu, na?
Yes, Mataji.
The attention of a pure devotee.
The attention of pure devotee is so much attracted to the glorification of Lord's path. This is over, Mataji. I think next I should read in this connection.
Yes. 20.
In this connection, in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 25, verse 36, Kapil Deva has advised his mother, Devahuti, as follows: "My dear mother, my pure devotees are charmed by seeing my different forms. The beauty of my face, the structure of my body, so enchanting. My laughing, my pastimes, and my glance appear them so beautiful that their minds are always absorbed in the thoughts of me, and their lives are dedicated fully unto me. Although such people do not desire any kind of liberation, or any kind of material happiness, still I give them a place among my associates in the supreme abode. Shall I continue, Mataji?
Yes. No.
Yes. Okay.
25th. Shri Krishna Charanam Bhoja Seva Nivritta Chetasam Yesham Mokshaya Bhaktanam Na Kadachit Spruha Bhavet. So those who are absorbed in the blissful service of Krishna, they are never attracted to the liberation. They continue now.
Yeah. This evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam gives assurance to the pure devotee of being elevated to association with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Rupa Goswami remarks in this connection that one who is actually attracted by the beauty of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna or his service, and whose heart by such attraction is always full with transcendental bliss, will naturally never aspire after the liberation, which is so valuable to the impersonalist. Yes, shall I stop here?
Okay. Now, third canto, fourth chapter. Yatha tatraiva Srimad udhoktau ko navishah te pada saroja bhajam sudurlabho rateshu tatushvapiha tathapi naham pravrushnomi bhuman bhavati padamboja nishevano sutaha. Those who are engaged in the loving devotion service, they have no difficulty to achieve anything within the realms of four principles, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And there it is said, nevertheless, O great one, Uddhava says, as far as I am concerned, I have preferred only to engage in your devotional service, in the loving service of your lotus feet. So for a devotee to attain moksha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, four purushartha is not at all difficult. He is attached to the panchama purushartha that is known as bhakti. So a bhakta is never attracted to liberation. Uddhava is speaking this. Okay, continue, Prabhuji.
Yeah, a similar passage is also there in the third canto, fourth chapter, verse 15 of the same book, where Uddhava addresses Lord Krishna and says, my dear Lord, for persons who are engaged in your transcendental loving service, there is nothing worth obtaining from religiousness, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. Although happiness from these different sources can be very easily had by them, in spite of such facilities, my dear Lord, I do not aspire to achieve any such results. My only prayer is that I may have unflinching faith and devotion unto your lotus feet.
So 27th and 28th, they are there in the next para. Tatreva Shri Kapila Devoktau Naikatmata me sprayanti kechin matapada seva biratoba mad iha ye anyonyato bhagavataha prasajya shubhajayante mama paurushani. Kapil Muni says a pure devotee who is attached to the activities of Krishna and is always engaging in his service, he never desires to become one with God. Such a devotee who is unflinchingly engaged always glorifies my pastimes and activities. And then continuing that 28th verse, Tatraiva, third canto, 29th chapter, 13th verse. Salokya Shastri Samipya Sarupyaikatvam Diyamanam Nagaranti Vinavad Sevanam Janaha. We have studied this verse. I don't want your service. Even though if you're offering it, I don't want this type of liberation. If you're not giving me any service, I don't want Salokya, Aloka like you. I don't want the same parent. I don't want to be close to you. I don't want to have similar form. I don't want to merge in you. That is, I don't want a similar form. And in this way, even if you give all these things, even if you give me opulence or beauty, but if it is bereft of your service, then what is the use? So 27th and 28th. Narayana sleeping around. Okay, Sudha Mataji, you read.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'm here.
Okay, read.
A similar passage appears in 3rd canto, 25th chapter, verse 34, wherein Kapil Dev instructs his mother and says, "My dear mother, devotees whose hearts are filled in the service of my lotus feet and who are prepared to do anything for my satisfaction, especially those fortunate devotees who assemble together to understand my qualities, pastimes, and form, and thus glorify me congregationally and derive transcendental pleasure therefrom, never desire to become one with me. And what to speak of becoming one with me if they are offered a post like mine in my abode, or opulence like mine, or even personal association with me with similar bodily features? They refuse to accept because they are satisfied simply by being engaged in my devotional service. In
Yes.
Srimad Bhagavatam,
Wait. Last verse. Sudha Mataji will read that. Chaturthe Shri Dhruvoktau. Fourth canto, 9th chapter, 10th verse. Ya nivrittis tanuvritam tava pada padma dhyanat bhavad jalakatha shravanena vasyat sa brahmani swabhamina mahimani apinathamabhut kim tvantakashi. What is this? Lulitat patatam vimanat. So here it is said, this transcendental bliss upon meditating on the lotus feet of Krishna, hearing about his glories, is so unlimited that it is giving so much pleasure, even beyond Brahmananda. Where a person, he thinks that the pleasure of merging in impersonal Brahman is the topmost. But here, the pleasure in his service is more than even Brahmananda. Now, Brahmananda is also defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from the devotional service. So, in this way, then what to speak of the pleasure which is there in getting heavenly planets that becomes so insignificant before the pleasure in or the transcendental bliss in meditating and hearing about Lord. So, even though he is elevated to the heavenly planets or upper planetary systems, Shine Punye Marte Lokam Vishanti, he has to come back. What is the use of such pleasure that has been given? Okay, last paragraph. Please read, Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 9th chapter, verse 10, King Dhruva says, "My dear Lord, the transcendental pleasure derived by meditation upon your lotus feet, which is enjoyed by the pure devotees, cannot be approached by the transcendental pleasure derived by the impersonalists through self-realization. So how can the fruitive workers who at most can aspire to promotion to the higher heavenly planets understand you, and how can they be described as enjoying a happiness similar to the devotee's happiness?"
Okay, here we'll stop. Small chapter. Tomorrow we'll try to complete 4th chapter. Then day after tomorrow and Friday, if I come early, it's okay. I'm going to Pandharpur. So there will be no class on Thursday. But tomorrow there will be the class. Any questions based on this you can ask.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam. Mataji, what is the difference between Jigyasu and Jnani? There is some confusion.
So Jnani is one who knows that I'm not the body, I'm soul. But still I'm subservient to Krishna. That is still not understood. Jigyasu is inquisitive. He wants to know about the soul. He wants to know. But Jnani has to some extent that self-realization that he is not the body's soul, but not the perfect self-realization that he is devotee of Krishna.
Mataji, who is better? Jnani. Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
See, Jigyasu is placed between two. Artho and Arthati, in between Jigyasu is placed. Artho, if he is made to read scriptures, he will come to the platform of Jigyasu. Or Arthati also can come to the platform of Jigyasu. If he is not taking up the instructions of the pure devotees, then if he tries to do on his own, he may come to the level of a jnani. But then it is very much important to have association to have a perfect jnana. Okay. Anyone else?
Mataji, I have one question. Mataji, it is said that one who is free from all sins, then he can take Krishna consciousness. मतलब जो पापों से मतलब वो रहता है
तेषां
मुक्त हो
त्वन्तगतं
जाता
पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां.
है। जी, तो उसको कृष्ण कृष्ण की भक्ति मिलती है। लेकिन माता जी कई बार हम देखते हैं कि जैसे जो बहुत अच्छी भक्ति कर रहे हैं, तो जैसे वो पापों से तो मुक्त हो चुके हैं, लेकिन फिर उन्हें पनिशमेंट कैसे मिलता है? जैसे वो लोग इतने कोई लोग बहुत सफर करते हैं, तो ऐसा क्यों होता है?
So Krishna wants to show, even in spite of suffering, Haridas Thakur also suffered, but he is not affected by the suffering. That is to teach. When a pure devotee is suffering, it is just to teach to others that even in that condition, he is smiling. He is not affected. That is
second last paragraph, where this paragraph talked about Kapila Deva instruct his mother and says, "My dear mother, devotees, those hearts are always filled in the service of my lotus feet." This means Kapila Deva is a avatar of Krishna.
Yeah.
Or I don't understand this.
Yes. He is incarnation of Krishna, appeared as a sage to teach his own mother the process of self-realization. Kapil Devhuti Samvad is there in the 3rd canto.
Is there any story behind it so we can read it somewhere?
Yeah, 3rd canto Bhagavatam. Read.
Okay.
Kapil Devhuti Samvad.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Anyone else? If no one, then our Nainukuti is a ready battery. Krishna's battery. Tell me what you're going to say today.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Vasudeva Prapannaya Avasmi Chitte Achitit Abhayam Sarva Bhutebhyo Tadamai Tasvratam Mama. Can you tell the meaning? Lord Rama says, do not fear.
Those who take shelter of me
Those who take shelter of me
and say, I am yours,
and say, I am yours,
even once,
I
will give them protection
I will give them protection.
against
Yeah, this
all
is very
evil.
important word. Sakrudeva prapanno yastava yachate abhyam sarvada tasmai dadami etam vratam mama. Even Krishna takes a vow. Just say, I am yours. That is enough. If you say one time to Krishna, I am yours, Krishna gives a protection. Krishna has taken that vow. And by any chance, a person is not able to remember Krishna at the time of death. Then Varaha Puran says, Yadi Vatari doshena madbhakto mam nachasmaret aham smarami madbhaktaha nayami vada nayami paramam gatim. I will take him back home, back to Godhead. Even if he is not, I will take him back. Even if he is not able to chant at the time of death, but he has been doing it continuously throughout his lifetime, I take it a personal responsibility to take that person to my abode. So, but in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityaja, you give up everything and come to me. Ramayana, Krishna says, you just say, I am yours, that is enough. And Varaha Puranam is more compassionate. Even if you are not able to chant, I will take your personal responsibility, I will take you back. The levels of Krishna's compassion and mercy has been given. Mancha
Mataji.
Yes, yes. Yes, Anupama.
Mataji, I have a question. Mataji, please, where I will find Varaha Purana this that Krishna remembers his devotees at the last time?
It is there. I'll send you that verse. Varaha Purana,
Yes.
this verse is there.
Yes, Mataji.
Yadi Vatadi Doshena. You can also search. Yadi
Mataji, you can go You can find it also in Ras Bihari Lal and Sons website. There is a website, Ras Bihari Lal and Sons. They have got tales from Varaha Puran, all the Purans. तो वहां आपको मिल जाएगा माता जी.